Okay guys, and welcome to another God tutorial. This is my third God tutorial, and for people who are new to this series, what it is, it's a weekly series I do every Tuesday, and I ask you to leave a comment on the God you'd like to see me do a tutorial on next, so that way I can actually pick gods that you want help with, and I can make a tutorial on them. And so yeah, pretty much how I do it is I show you the gods, I show you how to level them, how to build them, and then I go into the jungle practice and show you how to use their abilities and what their abilities do. So yeah, let's get into it. So first of all, I will show you, so obviously this week I'm doing a tutorial on Hel, the Norse god, and yeah, I'll be showing you how to build her, and then how to level her, and then how to use her abilities. So the builds I teach you, well, the build I'm teaching you on this series is builds for Conquest. So Hel in Conquest is a solo laner. She can be played mid, but her best role in my opinion is solo, so I will teach you how to build her in solo lane. So normally in solo lane it's warrior versus warrior, but Hel can play there, like Ra can play there, there is some other gods who can play there. Pretty much solo is you can play anyone you want, as long as you can clear the wave fairly well, and heal, and a heal is like, likable, not likable, you want to heal basically. So the best solo lane gods are people who can clear fairly well and can heal. So that's why Hel is good at solo lane. She can bully the lane by healing her wave and clearing theirs fast, and she can heal herself. So how I would start Hel in the solo lane is I would start with, you can do a couple of starts. So you can start with Vampiric Shroud, and then go into, where's it gone? So that's one start for Hel. Another start you can do for Hel is you can just rush, where's it gone? Health. You can just rush this if you want. So you can leave the base, get one potion, and there you go. So you can either get this start or that start. It depends who it really depends who you're against in solo lane. Solo lane is all about counter building. So if you're against a physical, well, if you're against someone who you know isn't going to be aggressive early, and you know you're going to have to farm, you can farm up for quite a bit, then you can get this item. But if you're against someone who is quite aggressive early, and you know you're going to have quite a intense and fighting laning phase, then you might want to start with this. That's just how I'll build her. But yeah, so the items I'm going to build, these 4 items here in the core section are the ones you have to build on Hel every game. I might not use all 4, I think I might only use 3. But these are the ones you have to build on Hel every game, and then I'll show you the ones you could build for damage and ones you could build if you want more defense. So the items you have to build on Hel every game is, for me, you have to get cooldown boots on Hel. I'll explain all the items once I put them in the slots. You don't have to build that. What do you have? See, the thing is with Hel, she's so varied. You don't have to build anything. I quite like that. I think that's a necessity on Hel. Is that all the core items? I think that might be all the core items. You know what? Let's put these in, because these aren't necessarily core, but they are always good picks. So I guess this is what you could say is the core for Hel. So Chronos Pendant. You don't always need Chronos Pendant. It depends who you're against. You know what, screw it. I'm just going to put all the items I would ever build on Hel in, and I'll explain them all. Let's do the damage ones first, and bucket off. Get this one in. And then physical protection, we would have maybe have that. Could have that. Some of you. Defensive. Let's click on defensive. Magical protection. Where is it? Where are you? Where are you? Actually, no. Where is it? Where's Voidstone? There we go. Could that be in core? Oh, that's a good point. Penetration. We'll get another core penetration item in here. I'd say, okay, either of them work, to be honest. Let's put one there and one in there. I'll explain all these items in a second. Yeah, I think that's about it. Okay, so let's explain these items. So for Hel, the way Hel works, the way she plays, is she's a very bruiser kind of brawly mage. She's not very good at, well, if she's ahead, she's really good at bursting people down. But the way Hel normally wants to fight is she wants to do long sustains, going in, using abilities, backing out, waiting for abilities to come off cooldown, then going back in, and just having like a slow, more dragged out fight. The reason Hel is good at those kind of fights is because she's very ability based. She's not very good at auto attacking, so she needs to wait for her cooldowns to come off cooldown before she can do big damage. And also she has a heal, so she can go in, do damage, back out, heal herself up, and then go back in again. So Hel is really good at doing the long, dragged out fights. So she's not really wanting to go all in, all for glory kind of god. So because of the way she plays, that affects how you want to build her. So because Hel's abilities are quite short ranged and You have to be in the middle of everything to use her abilities to the best effect. You want to build Hel fairly tanky, and like I said, she's not very auto-attack based, so you want to build cooldown so you have your abilities off cooldown faster, meaning you can get more heals, you can get more damage, etc. So that's why I've chose cooldown boots rather than penetration boots, because with Hel, you need the cooldown. Hel always has to have max cooldown every game. No matter which cooldown items you build, you need to have max cooldown. So whether you get Shoes of Focus and a Cronus Pendant, that's a good point actually, let's put another one in here. Whether you get Shoes of Focus and Cronus Pendant for your cooldown, or you get Shoes of Focus, Mail of Renewal, or Shoes of Focus, Mail of Renewal, Winged Blade, it doesn't really make a difference. As long as you have a lot of cooldown, that's good for Hel. Now, so that's why I chose these items. This item is good because obviously it gives you movement speed, damage, and it gives you the cooldown, which you need on Hel. You also need mana because Hel has... because Hel has 2 stances, she has quite a lot of... She has more abilities than normal, meaning she uses mana faster. So she's a very mana-hungry god. That's why I recommend these boots, because it gives you cooldown, gives you power. Not as much power, but still gives you some. And it gives you mana, which just helps Hel in general. So these are the boots you buy on Hel. Let's move on to Warlock Sash. Like I said, Hel is a very... She has to be very close, and she's like kind of a bruisery mage. So she wants quite a lot of health. So as I said, she's very mana-hungry too. So this item gives her 400 mana, which is great. Gives her magical power and gives her a lot of health, which makes her a lot tankier, and she's just better at doing them long dragged out fights. That's pretty much all it is to it. This item helps to do longer fights, which is what you want to do as Hel. Obsidian Shard. You need penetration on Hel, you need penetration on every god you play. If you don't have penetration, then your damage is going to be limited no matter who you're playing, unless you're a Guardian. If you're playing support, you don't really need penetration, but it's still... Yeah, you don't need penetration on support. If you want to do damage, you need penetration, put it that way. So the 3 penetration choices for Hel: Obsidian Shard, Spirit of the Magus, and Voidstone. When I would pick up Voidstone is if I'm against a magical god in solo lane, I'll pick up Voidstone because it gives me magic protection and damage, and it reduces their protections, gives me magic protection, and gives me damage. So it's just great against magic gods for boxing and long sustained fights, like I've been saying many times. Spirit of the Magus is good on Hel because she has quite a lot of abilities. So she has, instead of having dot damage, she has quite a lot of abilities that can apply the stacks of the passive. So for people who don't know what this does, every time that you hit a god with an ability, it applies a stack which reduces the penetration even further. You can read the tool, you can pause the video and read this bit here, but I'm just explaining it briefly. So the difference between Spear and Obsidian Shard is this one gives you 40 magical power and 15 penetration, whereas this one gives you 70 magical power and 33% penetration. So this one gives you more power, but it gives you percentage penetration. This one gives you less power, but flat penetration. So you want to pick up Spirit of the Magus when you are against people with not much protection. Say if someone only has 30 protection, it's 30 magical protection, reducing that by 15 is more than if you reduced it by 33%. So if you want to kill, if you're against quite a tanky laning partner, or they have quite a tanky team, you go for Obsidian Shard because they will have magic protection and it reduces it more than Spirit of the Magus. But if you're against quite a squishy team, they'll have less magic protection, so having the flat 15 reduction will reduce their protections more than just the 33%. So I know Obsidian Shard gives you 30 more damage, so 30 more magical power, but it gives you less penetration on a squishy guard rather than the tanky guard. If you see what I mean. If you have any questions about what I'm explaining, if I didn't explain it properly, or you don't understand something, or if you think I said something wrong and you have a different opinion, feel free to leave it in the comments below and I'll be sure to answer them all. Also, I should remind you that please leave a comment now saying which god you want to see me do a tutorial on next week, and that way I can do gods that help you rather than me just picking one. Okay, so that's it for penetration, so let's get rid of these because we've explained them. So let's get rid of those ones we've explained. Cronus Pendant. Yeah, it's just a great item. It gives you power, cooldown, and it gives you MP5, which MP5 is how fast your mana regens. So yeah, it just gives you everything Hel needs. That's it. It's a good item on Hel. Ethereal Staff. Ethereal Staff is the exact same as Warlock's Sash, except you don't have to stack it up, and because you don't have to stack it, it gives you less. Basically, if you fully stack Warlock Sash, it does everything Ethereal Staff does, but better. But the downside is you have to stack that one up. So if you build it Ethereal Staff, you're normally building it late on. So with Warlock Sash, in order to get the full effect out of it, you have to build it early so you can get your stacks up by mid-game. Whereas if you built it like 5th item, there'd be no point because you're not really clearing minions and you're not getting the stacks and you're not getting the most out of it. If you want to buy it later on in the game, you're better off buying Ethereal Staff because it's already stacked. It does give you less. It gives you less stats for health, mana, and power. Well, just for health and mana. Yeah, just for health and power. It gives you less health and power than a fully stacked Warlock Sash, but if you're buying it late on, you haven't got time to stack it up anyway, so Ethereal Staff is better. So Warlock Slash is a better item, but you have to build it early on. If you don't build it early on, and you're struggling to get stacks, then Ethereal Staff is better. Okay, so that's that one explained. Bucket Off. Bucket Off is another stacking item. It gives a lot of mana. Let me just hover over it. Why are you not coming up? Why are you not? Okay, never mind. We'll just click on it. Where are you? Okay, I have to get rid of it to click on it again. Okay, mana. There we go. Okay, Warlock's off. No, Bucket Off. So Bucket Off gives you a lot of magical power, gives you MP5, which is how fast your mana regens, and it gives you a lot of mana. So this item stacks up. The stacks aren't too important in this item. If you have this fully stacked, I think it only gives you 22 more magical power. I'm not too sure about the maths, but anyway, the stacks don't mean too much on this, so it is viable last item. So when you want to build this, you want to build this like 5th or 6th item. The reason you want to build it then is because it gives you a lot of magical power, so it gives you a massive amount of damage for endgame, and also it scales off your mana. So if you read the tooltip, it says, additionally 3% of your mana is converted into magical power. So once you hit level 20, and you, basically every level you gain, you get all your base stats increase, so you get more mana, more health, like more magical power, and all your stats go up. So by the time you're level 20, your base mana pool without items will be higher. So that means it gives, once you're level 20, that 3% is larger than it will be if you was level 1, because your mana pool is bigger. So that's why you build Bucket Off either 5th or 6th item. It's just a really good late game item to give you a lot of damage. So if you feel you're lacking damage, you want some more, Bucket Off is a good item on Hell. So let's get rid of you, it's already gone. What of Asclepius? I'm not really sure how you pronounce that, that's how I pronounce it anyway. So let me get rid of it so you can see it. Health, Rod of Asclepius, I don't really know how you say it. Basically it just gives you health, mana and movement speed, which is all good at things on Hell. Hell wants health so she can survive and she can do long sustained fights like I've mentioned. Movement speed is good because Hell has no escapes, so she has to rely on her movement speed to get out from places, and her cleanse and CC immunity, and yeah, it just gives the power. So the main reason you want to build this item on Hell is because it's just, if you read the tooltip, it says increase healing by 15% for you and your allies. So basically when you go to heal your teammates in team fights, it'll do 15% more. So yeah, it's just a good item because it buffs your healing, gives you a lot of magical power, gives you health and movement speed. So yeah, if you want to do more healing and you want to help out your team more in team fights, it's a good item. Okay, so now for defensive stuff. So you have two choices for Hell with defense. So the two physical defensive items I choose, well there's three. The three physical defensive items I choose on Hell is Breastplate of Valor, because it gives you cooldown, protection, mana, which is what Hell needs, or Mail of Renewal, because this one gives you health, cooldown, physical protection. And this one also has been buffed. Well, it did it anyway, but it's been buffed recently. It basically, every time you get a kill or an assist, it gives you 15% of your health and mana back over the next 5 seconds. So it's just good to keep you sustained, keeps you healthy, it gives you health, mana, cooldown, it just gives you everything Hell needs. So out of these two, I prefer Mail of Renewal. So if you're against a physical lane partner, you want some physical protection, I'd prefer to pick up that item. However, the other item you can pick up on Hell, which is acceptable, is Midgardian Mail. If you're against a auto-attacking god in solo lane, or their team is very heavily based on auto-attacks, then Midgardian Mail is just great at countering auto-attacks. No matter who you are, no matter where you're playing, Midgardian Mail is great against auto-attacks. The reason for that is most auto-attacking gods are physical, so it gives you physical protection, gives you a lot of health so you can survive, but so you're just naturally tankier with their higher health pool. They have to do more damage in order to kill you. And yeah, every time, so when you are hit by an auto-attack, there's a 30% chance to slow, is it 30% chance? Yeah. There's a 30% chance to slow your enemy's attack speed and movement speed by 30% for 2 seconds. So it's just great for dealing with auto-attackers. So if their team's heavily auto-attack based, you get Midgardian Mail. If you just want some physical protection, I go for Mail of Renewal. Oh, sorry, I forgot about this item. So yeah, another physical defensive item I would build is called Lotus Crown. Lotus Crown gives you 60 power, so it gives you power. The only downside to Lotus Crown is it doesn't give you health. So once you build this item, you are tankier to physical protection, but it only gives you 30, which isn't a lot. And also it doesn't give you much health. So this item isn't so good at making you tanky, but it does help out a bit. So basically what this item does is it gives you MP5, which is how fast your mana regens, so it helps you keep your mana sustained in lane. It also gives you 60 magical power, which isn't bad, it gives you damage, it's never a bad thing. But only gives you 30 physical protection, which isn't a lot, and it doesn't give you any health, so you are still quite squishy even if you build this item. But what it does do, which is why it's good on Hell, is because the passive, every time you heal, you gain 20 physical protection and 20 magical protection for the next 5 seconds. So once you heal yourself, you get more protections, and it just makes you tankier. So although this isn't the item to make you the tankiest, it does give you a lot of protections, but you lack that in health. So it gives you damage and protections, but you don't get the health out of it. But it still is a really good item on hell. Okay, and the last item is Wingblade. Okay, so Wingblade. What Wingblade does is it gives you health, which is always good, as I've explained many times. It gives you cooldown reduction, which is good, I've explained that. It gives you attack speed, which you don't need on hell, but it's just part of the item, so you get it. So we're not bothered about the attack speed. It gives you movement speed, which is good, as I explained. Hell has no escape abilities. She can only rely on her CC immunity from her cleanse, which is her 2, and her movement speed to get out. So her having movement speed is great. So the passive on this ability is really what makes it important, is whenever you are hit by a slow, it doesn't slow you anymore, it increases your movement speed by 20% for 4 seconds. So rather than you getting slowed, it does the opposite, it makes you go faster so you can escape and you can run away. So that's just good if their team has quite a lot of slows, or your lane partner has a slow. It gives you health, it gives you cooldown, and it helps you escape the fights, which is just good for hell. So that's all our items. So because hell is so, what's the word? Because their build is so varied, I'm just going to give you a situation and explain how I'd build it in that situation. If you have any questions on how you build hell against certain matchups, leave a comment below asking me what matchup you want a hell build on. And yeah, I'll help you out with that. But so let's say you're against a physical god. Let's say you are against a tier. Tier is quite a common solo laner. He's good in solo lane. So say you're a hell versus a tier. This is how I would build her. So I would start by building. This is how I would leave the base. I would go build this, and I would get 1 mana pot. This is how I would leave the base. That's my 1500 gold spent. So I've spent that, use my mana pot, yep, there we go. And then I will back as soon as I can afford this item. Where have you gone? So as soon as I can afford this, I will back and buy it. So then you can get this stacked up as fast as you can. So basically, buying this early means you can get the stacks online earlier, I mean you can get the full benefit out of it earlier. That's why you rush it to start with. So I will start by rushing Warlock Sash. Then I would build boots, and then after boots I will probably go into some magical protection, so some physical protection, because Tyr is a physical damage dealing god. I'd probably go into Lotus Crown. Would I go into Lotus Crown? Sure, why not? It's very dependent on the jungler too. Okay, so let's say it's Tyr in the jungle, so Tyr in the solo lane, so Tyr is my lane partner, and then say it is a Humbat in the jungle. So I'll build Warlock Sash, which gives me a lot of health. Choose a focus, and then Lotus Crown. The reason I've built Warlock Sash here is because Lotus Crown doesn't give me a lot of health, like I explained before. So to counter the health that I'm missing here, I built Warlock Sash, which gives me a lot of health. So I'm getting a lot of health from this, getting cooldown and movement speed from this, and I'm getting protection from this. So they're like my 3 core items. I needed health, I needed cooldown and movement speed, and I needed protection. So in these 3 items, I have all of those things. Then from there, I would just get more of what I needed. I would go build Cronus Pendant. If I'm struggling and I'm quite a bit behind. Actually, I can do this. Build. Oops, wrong button. So if I'm struggling and I'm quite a bit behind, then I would build another protection item. For example, I would build. Actually, no, I probably wouldn't. I've already got enough protection. But yeah, this is good so far. So this is for a tier and a Humbat's lane. This situation. This is how I would build her. So yeah, I've built that. Then I will probably go into, where is it gone? Into either this or this item. So if the tier built a magic protection item, I would probably, actually no, I'd probably just go spear. Yeah, I'd just go spear. So regardless if tier built a magic protection item, spear will probably still be better, and also Humbats won't have built magic protection, so it'll be better against him for penetration, it'll be better against the mid laner, and so on and so forth. So yeah, this is how I build so far, and then last item I would probably build Ratatouille. I forgot to include this in the explanation part, but Ratatouille is just a great item on any magic damage dealing guards because it just gives you a lot of magic damage. That's pretty much all it does, is you build it last item or 5th item, and it just gives you a lot of damage. So this will be my hell build for a tier solo Humbat's jungle lane. Okay, so the actives I will build on hell is Greater Purification, which is known as Beard Free, Heavenly Agility, Aegis Pendants, and Combat Blink. So 90% of the time I will build Greater Purification and Heavenly Agility because it gives health CC immunity to escape team fights, and then Heavenly Agility gives her more movement speed to run away, and it also gives her 100%. It's not 100% anymore, is it? Let me read it. Okay, so it also gives me 25% increased healing. So it makes me faster, makes me heal more, so it's just great for escaping. Aegis Pendant I would get if there's, say, a Poseidon or just a lot of burst damage you want to avoid. So Aegis Pendant can be okay, but it's not normally built on Hell. The only time I build Combat Blink on Hell is if they have an Odin. So Odin seriously counters Hell. So the way Odin works is his cage, his ultimate, it cages you in like just a big circle, and you can't heal, and your attack speed is reduced. The attack speed isn't a problem, but the anti-healing is a huge problem. Hell's main source of survivability is her anti-CC, which is on her 2 ability called Cleanse, and her ability to heal. So Hell is very good at surviving damage because she can heal herself, run away, and go back into the fight. Whereas if Odin cages her, he can burst her down, and she can't do anything about it because she can't heal. So that's why Combat Blink is so good, because the only way you can get out of Odin's cage is if you wait for the time to expire and then the cage falls and you can walk out, but you'll probably be dead by then. So the only way you can get out is either to jump, teleport, or anything else you can do to get out. So you have to have a movement ability to get out. Can't dash out, you have to jump, or teleport, or like an Athena will teleport out. So yeah, the only way for Hell to get out of the cage is to buy Combat Blink, and that will save her every now and then. Odin's ult is on a 60-second cooldown, whereas this is on a 3-minute cooldown. So you can only use it 1 every 3 times. But hey, it still saves you 1 every 3 times, so it's not too bad of an item. I'd only build it against Odin. Okay, now we'll move on to the abilities. So with Hell in solo lane, remember this build is for solo lane, I would level up her 3 because that is her heal and her main source of damage, which is Wave Clear. So I would level her 3 whenever I can, then her Decay Restoration. So Decay is the dark, so you see these names in brackets, they are the light stance. So for the way Hell works is she has 2 stances. Her ultimate isn't an ultimate, it just changes her stance, which gives her different abilities. So in the dark stance she has Decay, Hinder, and Repulse. In light stance she has Restoration, Cleanse, and Inspire. What these do, in Decay fires a projectile. Actually, I'm not going to explain these abilities now, I'll explain them when I go into the jungle practice after this, but this is how I would level Hell. So I would max her 3, and then her 1. So the priority for Hell's abilities is her ultimate, then her 3, then her 1, then her 2. So you would max her 3, pick up the ult whenever you can, and then once her 3 is maxed, you'd max her 1, pick up the ult whenever you can, and then max her 2, pick up the ult whenever you can. So depending on how you feel, if you feel you need the CC immunity, like if you feel you need Cleanse, I pick it up at level 4. I probably will pick it up at level 4 anyway. So yeah, I pick up that at level 4 anyway, so ignore that. So the first 5 levels, I would level my Repulse level 1, then my Decay, then my Repulse, then my Hinder, and then my ult. That's the first 5 levels, and then from there I'll proceed to just maxing out my ultimate whenever I can. I would skip level 8, and then by skipping, so as you can see, I can't put another point into my Repulse even though it's not max, because I leveled it twice already, and you can't level 3 times, that's how it works. So by skipping a level at level 8 and waiting to level 9, I can then level my Repulse and my ultimate. That way I max it out a level faster, and yeah, that's just what you do. So with Hell, with any god, if you want to max the ability as fast as you can, you skip level 8, and then level your ult and the ability you want to max it at level 9. So then from there, I would level Decay as many times as I can. When my ult is available for me to get, I'll level that, and keep going, leveling your abilities, like so. And that is how I would level Hell. Like I said, any questions, comment below. So that is Hell's build and level, and now I'll quickly jump into the jungle practice, and I'll show you how to use her abilities. So yeah, I'll see you there. Okay, and welcome to the final part of the video. So for this part of the video, I'm just going to explain what Hell's abilities do and how to use them, and then that'll be it. So, this is what I mean. This is Hell's dark stance, as you can see, indicated by this symbol and this skin, and if I press 4, this will change my stance into her light stance, and you'll notice the symbol changes, her skin changes, and the passive meter will start moving towards that direction. So press 4, change stance, the symbol changes to a golden wolf head, and my skin changes, and as you can see, this meter is slowly moving back towards light. Okay, so I'll quickly explain what Hell's passive is. When Hell is in stance, she gradually attunes the strength of that stance. So when she's in dark stance, so this bar here, when it's full, if that's full of dark, she'll get 20% magical power, and if that is full of in light, she'll get 20% extra healing. So at the moment, my healing will do 20 extra percent. If I'm in dark stance, as you can see, you wait for a bit, and it starts moving over. Once that is full, I get 20% extra magical damage, like so. Okay, so that's a passive. Also, so that is Hell's passive. Another thing about Hell's ult. Actually, I'll explain that when I get to it. So anyway, Hell's first ability. Her 1 in dark stance looks like this. The target, basically you fire a projectile forward, it deals damage in an AoE. So yeah, it's just a projectile that does damage. Her 2 in Dark Stance. It slows the enemy, removes some protections, and yeah, that's it. So this circle here, if I cast it onto the Odin, you can see the frost at his feet. That means he's been debuffed. So basically, it reduces his protections and slows him. That's it. And then Hell's third ability is called Repulse. What this does is, you see the circle around me, it just essentially deals damage in this area. And that is Hell's Dark Stance. So her 1 deals damage in a projectile, her 2 slows and removes protections, and her 3 deals damage. So now for Hell's Light Stance. So in Light Stance, Hell's 1 is still a projectile like so. So it deals less damage in her Dark Stance, but it heals her. So if I can go lose some health, I'll show you. Let me just sprint over there. So if I lose some health from the Fire Giant here. Let me just get down to about a quarter HP real quick. Okay, let's leave. Ow. Okay. Really? He's still hitting me? Are you done? Okay. So, I will quickly explain what Hell's Light Stance does. Her first ability, like you see, now the well's healing me, god damn it. So, what her first ability does is deals significantly less damage than her Dark Stance 1. But what it does is, it deals less damage and then heals you. Her second ability gives you CC immunity for the duration. How long is the duration? It gives you CC immunity for 1.3 seconds at max rank. Now, Hell's third ability, I take this off instant cast, is in this target area. It's the same target area as her 3, but instead of dealing damage in this area, it now heals in this area. So it heals me and all my allies, like so. There we go, I am healed, and it'll heal anyone else on my team in this area. It also gives you movement speed. So you see this thing at my feet, and you can see I've got like some glow at my feet, which is a buff. Basically, it heals me and gives me extra movement speed. It gives me 25% extra movement speed at max rank. So that's it for Hell's abilities, and her ultimate, when she's in Light Stance, she gets 35 MP5, which is how fast your mana regens, and when she's in Dark Stance, she gets 60 magical power. So as you can see, my magical power now is at 105, Chain Stance is at 165. So that's been it for the health tutorial. I'd like to thank you all for watching. Please remember to leave a comment below on what god you want to see me do a tutorial on next. And yeah, I'd like to thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did enjoy it and you are new around here, please do subscribe, and I'll see you on my next one. Thank you for watching.